Yo, y'all seen the title? Y'all know what it is. All right, let's make one thing clear. Nobody knows what went down that night with Teen Melanie and Timothy besides Melanie and Timothy. I want to get that straight out the way. What I'm going to be doing here is talking about the facts that we know and try to look at it from a legal standpoint. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to also talk about how not to end up in Melanie Martinez's shoes right now, because it's a very unfortunate situation she got on. So you seen the title, you know what it is already. And I want to just put it out there. I am not a lawyer. I'm just like going what I think might or might not happen. So just bear with me throughout this whole video, knowing that information. So in my opinion, this case, it will never go to court. Never. Like, unless it's a defamation case, I don't see how we could go to court. And the reason being, we don't have a reliable time or date. There's no solid evidence, no witnesses. We have no intimate assault kits, and most of it's probably going to be hearsay, right? A lot of people are still going to probably ask, why can't it go to court with just that information? Because no solid evidence. How is it going to stick? How will you prosecute somebody without like solid evidence? You can't just take somebody's word like as law. If that's the case, then a lot of chaos would ensue. And there's only one thing we have confirmed, and that's something did happen that night between Melanie Martinez and Timothy. And it's on two opposite sides of the spectrum, because you got one person saying that it was a choice that they made together, and the other person saying, hey, we did not make that choice together. So does that make sense? So let's continue. So from Timothy, we have their written statement from the night that it happened. We have the interview that they did with that 15-year-old girl. And then we also have the most recent edition, which is like her like discussing how all of this has affected her over the years. So that's coming up, that's come out within like the past month. I'm recording this on July 27, 2024. Now, the written statement is just her recollection of events that what happened that night. And I'm gonna see if I can put it on the screen. I'm not gonna like read it. So like if you want to pause and read, you can. And the interview that Timothy does is answers to questions that the Melanie fandom has about like this whole situation. Like she answers like quite a few. I'll try to link that information in the video for you guys. And like I said, the new most recent video is how she's been treated over the years after coming out with this information. And just allow me to clarify some things real quick. So Timothy mentioned that they were playing a game that Melanie took a little too seriously. It was kind of like a flirtatious game. In the interview, she does mention that like it was her idea to play the game. So that's one thing we got to clarify. Two, there are false screenshots going around saying that Timothy has apologized to Melanie Martinez, saying that like Timothy is obsessed with Melanie, blah, 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 etc. Those are fake. Those are fake. It's proven fake. Even in like the most recent thing that Timothy has put out, she admits like, yo, that's not me, it's Photoshop, blah, blah, blah. And within 24 hours of Timothy posting their like tragic night, there was a news outlet that picked up the story, and it is very up in the air on whether or not Timothy was like collaborating with them to put out that story, because I'm pretty sure they had facts that we weren't privy to before. So like it was in that article that we learned that, hey, Melanie was wearing this the day that it happened, and like there's a date, and it happened close to night time because they were trying to sleep when it happened. And the last thing I need to clarify is Melanie did make a follow-up statement after hearing the news, and it was basically confirming that they did do something together, yes, but the statement implies consent. I'm gonna put it right here on the screen. Is basically like her saying like she didn't say no, but we did choose to do this together. That's what I remember it saying. And also Melanie put out a song later on. I don't know when it was posted, and I don't think it's officially on her streaming services, but it's called Piggyback, right? And essentially it's basically Melanie saying nuh-uh like to what like Timothy is saying, and like basically calling Timothy a liar, because it's like her saying, I did this and this for you, and this is how you treat me. That's basically what the song is. I bet you all are asking like, Jay, why would Timothy lie about this, right? Like, why would Melanie say that Timothy's a liar? Well, let's get into that. Maybe sympathy, clout, jealousy, or taking out the competition. There's a lot of different reasons why you can lie, because when you look at the situation, there's a lot that Timothy can benefit from by like saying this to Melanie. And Melanie is at risk of losing everything at the moment as well. Granted, she will always have a few like stans who will always ride and die for her, but at the end of the day, we can't rule out the fact that, yo, we just don't know what happened. And I would also like to put it out there that Timothy is also an aspiring musician, which is why like jealousy and taking out the competition is like one of the reasons why she might lie, you feel me? And clout, because, you know, any press is good press. But I don't want to put that out there only because, you know, like Timothy can really like potentially be a victim. And I feel bad because like as a victim, it could be like terrifying and like it can make you feel horrible watching somebody diminish your experience, saying, oh, that never really happened. Oh, you're a liar, blah, blah, blah. Like this terrible thing happened to you and nobody believes you. That's a terrible feeling. And it's sad because we really don't know the details of what happened that night. So we can't really tell if she's lying or she's telling the truth or not. So it's just like, it's all called into question. And like, I say all this to say that's exactly why like this situation probably wouldn't make it to court. And like, I know a lot of people probably watching this video are Melanie stans and like Timothy stans maybe as well. This would not make it to court for those reasons because it's a bunch of hearsay. Like Melanie would have the advantage if it did go to court. And the reason why like Melanie would have the advantage because like the lawyers only have to prove that like, yo, this did not happen, right? It's going to be harder to prove that it did happen than to prove that it did not happen. And once again, I am not a lawyer, but do you remember what I said? Like you got to prove a date and a time, right? You got to have like a reliable date and time. There's no witnesses. You don't have an intimacy like assault kick. No solid like evidence whatsoever. So that's why it will be a hearsay case. Like it's just like my word against yours, because how else would you prove that something happened that night? It's horrible to think about because let's say Timothy is lying, right? Then she's abusing that to like probably leverage herself up. But if she is that victim, then it's like she's not getting the justice she deserves. And I'm trying to keep this as neutral as possible because I do not want to diminish somebody's experience, like traumatic experience. And I also don't want to possibly paint somebody who's potentially innocent in a bad light, you feel me? So you can take this information, do what you will with it. I'll also link a couple videos that I've watched that help me like formulate an opinion on this matter, like in the description, just so it can help you. I'll link. There's a video by this like cool YouTuber called Sloan. They put it together really well. And I might try to link something to like the most recent like statement that Timothy gave. But yeah, it's just gonna be hearsay, and it'll be easy for like Melanie's lawyers to kind of discredit Timothy only because how like often Timothy has talked about it, because you don't really hear much about Melanie talking about it, but like you hear more so about like Timothy talking about it. And like when you have so many like outlets of information out there about one particular story, the lawyers can look at that over and over and over again, and they can like kind of twist your words in a sense to make it seem like, oh, you said this, didn't you? Okay, so why is this the case? And like they'll make contradicting statements to your statement so that it makes you seem like not a credible person. That's how they'll approach it, so that they can get Melanie off and like dismiss the case or something like that. Like all those statements that Timothy gave would have to be brought into question. So like the date and times, remember how like she gave a date and time to the news outlet, but it wasn't a correct date and times, and it's like people are doing the math and it's tracking Melanie back to New York at the time where she said it happened. That's gonna be like a very critical piece of evidence, and I feel like that will really hurt Timothy's case, like if she wanted to pursue action, and it'll help Melanie's case if she wanted to sue for defamation. That's why I said like that's the only way I can really see it going to court is if it's a defamation case, because the only way you can really fight false accusations is with defamation, because defamation, the truth always wins. They'll also try to like attack like statements like how she was there for like, I don't know, 48 hours, but she never decided that she wanted to leave even though she was uncomfortable. They'll bring that into question. And it's like lawyers have a weird job like in that sense, because it could be really gross like when you're talking to a potential victim in that way, trying to discourage their experience, you feel me? But that's a lawyer's job, and it is really like sad to hear stuff like that. But it's just like that's what you're gonna have to deal with if this does go to court. And that's how like they'll try to make Timothy seem unreliable, because the burden of proof is ultimately on Timothy. Timothy has to prove that like this actually happened. You feel me? So like that's gonna be like very hard unless they have like some serious evidence like that they've just been holding on to, waiting for Melanie to say the wrong thing. That's the only way that I could see like Timothy winning. You feel me? And I would like to take this moment to tell you guys, yes, you guys, like the Melanie stans that like are really diehard for Melanie. I get it. I like Melanie Martinez too on my reaction channel. I love her all the time. Like she put a smile on my face. But please leave Timothy alone. Don't be sending no death threats. Don't be sending no no hate comments, because whether or not these allegations are true or not, it does not justify sending Timothy these hate comments and death threats. It's not cool. Like I get it. Like if she is lying, there needs to be consequences, but like let them get their karma. I don't even know how to phrase it. Let them get their karma how they're supposed to get their karma. You guys don't have to be their karma. I want to reiterate that they are a potential victim, and to be persecuted and like having rocks thrown at you for just coming out with your story that like might have really like impacted your life and changed the way your brain starts thinking and like gives you that PTSD that you might have. That sucks. Like when people like really try to discourage you about stuff like that, like it's terrifying, man. It's terrifying. So I just want to ask you guys to grant Timothy a little bit of grace, and just like if this ever goes to court, just do what you will do after that. But from now on, since we don't really know what really happened between the two, just give Timothy grace. And yeah, this is what I would do, or my advice to you guys on how not to be in Melanie's position, because Melanie is being painted as a potential intimate assaulter. I think that's the word I want to go with. Whenever you're about to get into an intimate situation where like physical touch is involved, make sure you ask for consent. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's first base, second base, home run. I don't care if you're playing basketball down the street. Just ask for consent, like, because it's like you never know what's on a person's mind, right? A lot of people they got a fight response, and there's another one called fawn, where you just stand there and let stuff happen to you. You don't want to do that. And that brings me to my next like point. Don't fawn in these moments. Like if you're in a situation that's really making you uncomfortable, please, you either fight, kick them in a vulnerable spot, be very vocal, or cause as much attention to yourself as possible. It's like if you were about to get like kidnapped on a stranger on the street, you're gonna make as much noise as possible to make sure they get away from you. And like, I don't care if you don't want to make a scene, you're trying to avoid the worst from happening to you, right? That's all I'm trying to say. And I know it's like easier said than done, but just try to remember my words when like that situation occurs, and hopefully this never has to be applied to any situation that you're ever in. You feel me? But like if it does, you just got to be ready. Next thing I would like advise you to do is just document a lot of stuff, like everything. Like document it right after it happened. Document like what you're feeling at the time. Just document it some way, like take videos, pictures. I say those are the best things you could do. And then you can also write about it in a journal just to make sure you don't forget what's happening, because a lot of times when these traumatic things happen, you tend to like try to block it out of your mind so you don't remember it. You feel me? So that's another way you can try to be on your P's and Q's about that. Intimate kits. These are the things that you get at hospitals after you've been assaulted. These are very important in these cases, only because they've actually helped a lot of people's cases. Just look at the situation that academics had. This is not an academic saver. It's a woman that he's had over to his house. She got dragged around and brutally, like, you know, I ain't gonna say the rest, but like it was by 3 different men. One of the men tried to say that they had no involvement in it, but when she went to go get that DNA kit, like that intimate kit, they found all 3 DNAs inside of her. So that's the importance of a rape kit. Even if you're like shocked that this even happened, like you're trying to believe like, oh, this is actually real, blah, blah, blah. Like go get the kit done. Like you'll be glad that you have it. You feel me? And last thing I could really say is just like be cautious about who you keep around you, who's around you at all times. Like always be aware of your surroundings, like stuff like that, because you never know what could happen. Like I'm a very paranoid person by nature, so I'm always looking around and just making sure there's not any weird stuff around me that could like potentially harm me. And I feel like a lot of people can benefit like being that way. I mean, being paranoid is not fun, but it keeps you safe, right? So that's all I'm saying. Just be on your P's and Q's like a lot. And yeah, although this is a tragedy, I'm hoping that we can all like take something from it, take a lesson from it, and just like have it advise us to be a little bit more careful than last time. But yeah, let me know what you think about this situation. Do you think Melanie did it? Do you think she didn't do it? Do you think that Timothy's lying? Let me know in the comment section. Please be kind in the comment section, because like we are better than that, okay? We can be haters, but we can be haters to other people who didn't get assaulted. Like, I don't know. Like, this is not the situation. We gotta read the room a little bit. So yeah, be kind. Let me know what you think about the situation in the comment section. And yeah, hopefully I could help you guys a little bit, even if it's just a little tiny bit. And that's all I really gotta say. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Proud of Jay. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you live life till your heart is full. Deuces.